This is a Year 8 English video on the text once. These videos go hand in hand with your booklet, your chapter summary booklet, and this video is for chapter 1. Your booklet looks like this, and you should have a copy emailed to you where you put your name in. And if you see down here, chapter 1 is what we're looking at. You will need to put in a plot summary, discuss characters and various other things, and this video is an accompanying video to this booklet. So in this chapter summary video, we'll be looking at chapter 1. Each of the chapter summary videos will contain information about the setting. It will have information then about the characters or the character development as the character develops throughout the book. We'll be looking at literary devices, techniques and features. That is what the author uses to communicate his message. And finally, we'll be looking at the themes, what sort of themes are important in this novel. Before we get into a discussion about setting, there's some introductory things we need to do. You need your novels out, and here is page 1 on the screen of the novel. You will need to mark your book up. So I suggest you have a pencil, a ruler, and a highlighter. Any of those things will be necessary to mark your book up. So right throughout the book, you'll be taking notes inside your novel as well as creating chapter summaries. So let's look at the first thing. The first thing that we should highlight is the very first word. The very first word, once, obviously relates to the title, but it does much more than that. So right next to once, up in this area here, I would be writing that once is the title of the book. Quick flick through the book and you see that every chapter begins with the word once. Okay, once is an adverb. It means on one occasion. So usually an adverb describes the verb. So having just once as the title and once beginning every chapter means that you can describe different things. And that is the case. What we find is that the very first sentence describes the chapter. So every first sentence of every chapter describes what is in the chapter and begins with the word once. So if you like, it's a summary. The first sentence is a summary about what is going to happen in that chapter. Lastly, it's a formula. And what we mean by formula is that it's a traditional way of saying things. Once is like a contraction for once upon a time. And having done fairy tales, we'd realise that this is a formula that is used in every fairy tale. So to introduce a story, a traditional way of doing that is to say once upon a time. So we've got some notes there written around the word once, and we've highlighted it and underlined it, made some notes above it about what that means. So we're already annotating our novel, which is a great thing. The other thing that we need to do, and that we would write up here, is we need to talk about the perspective. You can see the very first sentence is, once I was living in an orphanage in the mountains and I shouldn't have been, and I almost caused a riot. Notice the pronoun I is used 3 times in this sentence. This tells us about perspective. Personal perspective in a story is very important, and there are 4 different perspectives that we can have. Here they are here. 4 different points of view. The question we're looking at here is who is telling the story. You can have a first-person perspective. The person in the story, they're telling the story. And obviously, you can see here it says, I am telling the story. The very beginning, it says, once I was in an orphanage. So we can see that it's a first-person perspective. So right up here, I would be writing first-person perspective, just like this.